Well, we got a great call lined up for you today. This young man came on once and he came on, I mean, just extraordinary. So this is his third appearance. But I want to say something. I want you guys to take notes on this. This is very powerful. He said this. Well, let me say this. We see the problem, a lot of people not succeeding in our business, even with the situation going on and not joining some of the calls we do, is you have to understand a couple things. Uh-oh, hit the wrong button there. Okay. Miss Gail Wiggins, thank you for joining. All right. We want things to be soft and easy. We've heard from Julian Lewis, who did a fantastic job on Tuesday, Miss Ismail on Monday, as I was traveling back. And then yesterday, you know, we want things soft and easy. People, it doesn't work that way. You got to see, here's the key. People want to skip the hard work and the pain of failure. Mr. Lewis and Miss Ismail both touched on that. Both touched on that. Folks, don't you realize you got to roll your sleeves up and get into the trenches? And Sam Foster said something a while back to me that I want to quote. Yeah, I want to quote this. Mr. Jetta, good morning. Thank you for joining. Focus on the people who are doing the business. Focus on the people doing the business and are making it better. Mentors who are honest, people who are doing it, and learn from them. In other words, you know, we all should learn from Sam Foster. He's out there doing it every day. Last night was the least leads he ever had in the last six times I've done this. He's always averaging 13 to 6, 13 to 14 or 15. That's about it. Every time I do these calls. You know, and let me share this with you. Avoid the shiny objects. In other words, the easy way. It takes, write this down, this is really important. It takes sacrifice and hard work to succeed, to be a regional director and or a regional vice president. It takes what? Sacrifice and hard work. And so many people want to take the easy way out, the soft way out, and there's no such thing, folks. Mr. Sam Foster decided to sleep on the floor for a while. He said, Mr. Thomas, you can move and upgrade and change your life. Why can't I? I can at least sleep on the floor. You know, I mean, I'm just sharing some things. I'm not saying you got it, but I'm just sharing some things because if you want to stretch yourself, you got to move out of your comfortability. And now he's going out every day getting leads. And without further ado, from the Dallas, Texas area, this gentleman, I have just so much respect for because he's out there talking to people. He don't care. And without further ado, the great from Dallas, Texas, the one and only, the great Sam Foster.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. I want to say once again how much of an honor it is to be on the call once again. I don't take it lightly as usual. I know everybody can be doing other things. Other speakers can be on the call. So I appreciate it, Mr. Thomas, for you allowing me to be on the call and spread a little bit of information / knowledge. So I appreciate that. I don't take it for granted. We have an awesome leader, Mr. Thomas. Everybody knows that. And I just want to say thank you once again. Also want to give up special thanks to Mr. Jabri Clemens because he actually continues to make this thing run every single day. He's available to any and everybody who wants to be available to him. He's answering a lot of questions. He's been a personal asset to me in what I'm able to do on a daily basis. So I appreciate that tremendously. I know we have RDs on the call. I know we got an RVP Platinum, Miss Driscoll on the call, 3.0s on the call, Julian Lewis. I appreciate you guys. And definitely give a special thanks to, I like to call him now, White Chocolate, AKA that monster coming out of California who does these awesome Sunday night calls for us. The product calls, Mr. Chris King and Rose Guerrero King. They do an awesome job. And a lot of times I feel like they may not always get recognized. They always do an awesome job. So I want to thank them for that. Want to dive right into the information because I was thinking last night, I was going back and forth trying to figure out how I was going to approach the information and the situation that I needed to give to everyone. And I think I'll start off by looking at what we did on last night. And Mr. Thomas just did a great job in putting a segue together about what happened last night. And I'll reiterate this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not anybody special. I'm just in the trenches. I'm just going out there to grind. Basically, I'm going out there to grind. A couple of you guys know what my why is, at least one or two of my whys. But I just was thinking last night when we were on the call, how effective the call last night really was. And to me personally, as Mr. Thomas just stated, last night was one of my least nights of volume on the calls, on the Wednesday night calls. And I was kind of disappointed in myself because even though I had a nice number, I'm usually averaging, 15, 16, 17 people. And I was frustrated with myself, and it hit me. I heard God tell me, say, I want you to start focusing more on value as opposed to volume. And I heard Mr. Thomas say this to me maybe a month or so ago. He said that you got to continue to remind yourself to recruit up. And the last couple of days leading up to yesterday, I started seeing myself approaching other individuals, other potentials in different locations. Now, Tuesday, I went to a motocross event here in the area at the AT&T Stadium. And I started approaching people like insurance salesmen. I was approaching doctors and lawyers and people of that nature. And I found out something about myself, ladies and gentlemen. I found out, wait a minute, these people wanted and needed just as bad as the regular people that I had already been approaching. And I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute, now I'm getting over what I would consider my personal stumbling block. Now I have to look at this thing from a value perspective and not just the volume. Because I can do volume all day. Some of us are gifted in areas that we're just gifted in. Let's, for instance, Jabri Clements. He's just gifted in the tech side. He's just gifted. You tell him to do something, he's right on it. He's Johnny on the spot. I mean, he can do anything. He's better than most tech guys that get paid for this thing doing a natural production. He's just good at what he does. Then I started having to search myself, ladies and gentlemen. These last 3 days, I was soul searching. I said to myself, I said, yeah, I can get volume. I can do a lot of volume. But S.C.A.M requires, ladies and gentlemen, it requires value, not just volume, but value. Because if you don't bring value to the table, volume don't count. The reason why you want to start recruiting up and you want to use value as a commodity is because if you start reaching out to value, you'll retain more people in your organization and you'll produce more leaders. Your leaders are going to be found through the value system and not the volume system. Now, I'm not trying to tell anyone not to go out and pick people that they pick. I mean, I think it's good to gather people together, but then you have to start thinking to yourself, when you look at the people that you gather on a piece of paper, where's the value? If you write down what they do, their profession, it usually will tell you what their value system is. If you got a lawyer as opposed to somebody who works at a warehouse, well, you got your value system right there. And that's not saying that the person at the warehouse won't do the job, won't do the business, but what it usually is saying is you have to analyze a little bit better. The person that has a better coming in income is probably going to be more along the lines of coming into your business than the other person would be because they have least restrictions going on. Least restrictions, especially from a financial standpoint, and they usually are able to analyze a business a lot better than somebody who's just barely getting along, doing a 9 to 5, doing the routine and things of that nature. So you have to analyze a little bit better and you separate yourself from volume, from value to volume. So you eliminate the volume altogether. At some point, you start creating more value. Now, if you're taking notes, I titled this particular encounter that we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, S.C.A.M. S.C.A.M, scam. Exactly what it says. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly what it says. It's a scam. Now, that's the acronym. Now, what that means, ladies and gentlemen, if you're taking notes, it means seriously, because we're getting ready to go into momentum for game on. It means seriously creating ambitious motivation. Let me repeat that. Seriously creating ambitious motivation. Those are the acronyms for scam. And I thought about it last night and I said, nah, maybe I shouldn't say scam because somebody may take it the wrong way. But that's exactly the way they should take it. Why? Because if you really look at the acronym and you break down every word, I'm saying seriously create. That means be serious about what you're doing when you're going out peeking people, when you're thinking about the business, be serious about it. Be serious about being creative. What gets you going? What floats your boat? What's gonna make you motivated to go out there and talk to these people and pique these people? You have to be serious about it. You have to be seriously creative in your own mind before you walk out the door. You have to be seriously creative in your own mind. Then you have to be ambitious. Then I started thinking about it. I said, wait a minute. I said, ambitious, then motivated. Ambitiously motivated. Ambitiously motivated. Well, then I thought about it. I said, well, you could be negatively motivated too. So you have to define which type of motivation is it. Okay, you have to be ambitiously motivated. In other words, you have to kick yourself into overdrive. If you're ever gonna do this thing worth doing, you're gonna have to be ambitiously motivated. Because you can be stagnated and be motivated. Why is that? Once again, Mr. Thomas used to do this skit with the hamster on the wheel. I've said it before. Well, that hamster on the wheel, it was going, but it wasn't going anywhere. In other words, it wasn't ambitious. And some of us, ladies and gentlemen, we're on that wheel and we're just spinning. We call it spinning your wheels, but we're not going anywhere. So you have to be ambitiously motivated. In other words, you have to wake up every day saying to yourself, who can I help? Which life can I change? Who can I change every single day? In other words, Mr. Thomas said this. He said, do something every day that's going to move your business forward. Every day, do something that's going to move your business forward. So in other words, you have to be seriously creating ambitious motivation to move your business forward. We're in the last of the first quarter of the year, and we have to ask ourselves. Now, I'm not putting everybody down. Let's just say I'm talking about me. What are you doing every day, Sam, to move your business forward? Now, like I said, I looked at the number last night and I thought about it. I can start continuing to make sure that I start recruiting up. So that way, individuals that the doctors, the lawyers, they want this too. How do you know that, Sam? I'm glad you asked. If you look at YouTube, on a daily basis, they'll always have this clip up there now. On usual YouTube now, they have this clip about people opening up these envelopes every day. And they use everybody in the clip. 5 or 6 different scenes they'll use. They'll use a construction worker, they'll use an older lady, they'll use an older guy, and they'll say, here goes the check. I got 30,000 in the mail today. Here's another check. I got 7,000 in the mail today. And I kept thinking to myself, I said, wait a minute. And they're all pushing, whether it's the YouTube or whether it's the radio, they're all pushing entrepreneurship. That's the new thing now, pushing the entrepreneurship. And they'll tell you they got 7,000, 30,000, 15,000 at one time. But they never tell you exactly what they're doing. But then they'll say, call this number or put this link in. And it's usually, ladies and gentlemen, a link to somebody named Jake or Isaac or somebody that's really trying to sell a system that we already have. I don't know if anybody recognizes that now. I'm going somewhere. I should have titled this roller coaster because put your seatbelt on. We going on a ride, ladies and gentlemen, a real ride. Now think about this. They'll sit up and they'll advertise all these checks that they getting this money on. Then I started thinking about it because I do my research and I like to fact check. Then I got a little deeper with it. Most of it is from the real estate industry, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me show you how that works in the great state of Texas, because some of you guys may not be attuned to what's going on in the real estate market. If you ever see how they do real estate, especially in Texas, because we're so big geographically, they'll put us, since we're the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, they'll have a seminar going on in Dallas, and then they'll transfer that same seminar to Fort Worth. And for 2 or 3 days, they'll move it around the city. And if you're not careful, you'll go to every single seminar. And they usually put somebody big on the marquee, ladies and gentlemen, depending on the size of the seminar. They'll use somebody like a Damon John or one of these Shark Tank individuals. I've been to 3 or 4 of them. I've seen every Shark Tank member that they ever created, because they come to Texas for the real estate value, because Texas is so big. So they actually come sometimes. And what I found out was, and not necessarily knocking them, but it's scamish at best. And the reason why I say it's scamish, ladies and gentlemen, because I want us to keep into the theme of the word scam. They flip the script. So what they'll do is they'll get you in the seminar and you're there for a few hours, but then they'll paint a picture at the seminar. They'll tell you, they said, we're coming back. They'll tell you they're coming back in another couple of weeks, and they're going to do an orientation. And they'll tell you, we're going to be here for a week. And then they'll say, anybody that's serious about wanting to learn anything about real estate, guys, get up and get in this line. Now, if they tell you to get in a line, most of the time, that's going to cost you a fee. Now, for us, it's $224. And this is no joke. The first line they usually tell you in, minimum, that I've been in now, 11 grand, $11,000. When they first said $11,000, I looked at the person next to me and I said, did I hear that right? They said, yeah. I say $11,000. They said $11,000. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you what we got as opposed to the scam. Because you know, they'll say, that's a scam, that's a pyramid. Yeah, I got it. But let me show you who's really doing the scams. Let me show you who's really doing the scam. Now, I'm telling you from firsthand account. I'm not telling you because somebody told me, and then I'm coming back and telling you guys, I've been in there personally myself to a few of them. That's why I didn't go back. Because I went in one and they said $11,000. Then they said, if you're really serious, in the same event, they say, go on this side over here in this line, $21,000. Now, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I got to hawk off my firstborn just to get in a line of $11,000 and $21,000? Wait a minute. And this is what they tell you, ladies and gentlemen. They say if you get in these different lines, they say they're going to teach you how to do real estate. They're going to teach you how to flip it. Okay, now if I paid you $11,000, $22,000 for a week's worth, you're going to show me how to flip it. I got to thinking about that the other day. I said, Mr. Thomas said he learned how to do real estate from a book and bought his off a credit card in the early 80s. I said, now how's art imitating life and come full circle? I said, I know he didn't pay $22,000 in the early 80s. I said, now, if he mastered his skill and paid less for it, and now you're going to tell me to pay at least $11,000 to join your organization to actually learn how to do this. Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even own what they're telling you to do. All you're doing is being a puppet for them. And the reason why I know you're being a puppet for them, because not only do you not get back in, for people who understand what back end is, but you don't even get a chance to get the residuals. What they teach you is you can get a slight percentage off the front end. Let's say you flip a house for $30,000. you might get $3,000, but that's all you're going to get. Yeah, you can dangle the check, but you don't get the residuals. What are you saying, Sam? I'm glad you asked me on this roller coaster. We get residuals, ladies and gentlemen. We're one of the only organizations I know that get true residuals off what we do, month after month after year after year. So you mean to tell me that I'm going to get on my line $11,000 right here, $31,000 right here. I'm going to come back in a week and you guys are going to split us up for a week. Now, you're not going to put us up in a hotel because we're local. Watch the scam. You're not going to put us up in a hotel. We got to come back every single day. Now, I'm going to show you what I did because I'm real sneaky a lot of times. And when I fact check, I like to go behind the scenes. I learned that being in a little ministry I am, I always go behind the scenes. When they have you there for that one day, ladies and gentlemen, when they have you there for that one day, they have you there for hours. Now, they say the catchphrase is, we're going to feed you. What they don't tell you is, they're not going to feed you a full course meal. They're going to feed you a box sack lunch that's been sitting in a freezer all day. The food that you eat, the sandwich you eat, going to have so much bread on it, it can choke a horse, and this much meat, a piece of meat with a chunk full of bread, and they're going to give you an apple or orange or something like that that can be molded because everything is frozen solid. Now, what they're going to be eating, all the presenters, I watched this with my own eyes, ladies and gentlemen. They got stuff catered in from papados. They got things catered in that sit on the wick that's in a tent behind everything. And all the big timers that they flew in, they catered the event. So they back there eating like the mob squad. And you sitting up there eating a stale cookie, talking to the other person, and you gave these people $11,000 to $22,000 so they can show you how to flip a house. You don't understand, if you flip that one house, ladies and gentlemen, you only got a small piece of it, but the person that started the event, they get a piece of everybody residually because they get a chance to resell the house again and again and again. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You only get a piece of it one time. They're getting the residuals. Yeah, they showing you how to flip the house, but they're showing you how to go to work for them. Do you understand the premise of what I'm saying? You got a job all over again. They just giving you a piece of money up front that you never had before. So it's making it look like, oh, I'm a real professional. Yeah, you're a real professional, a real professional worker, a professional worker. You just moved locations. That's all you did. You moved locations. Now you're being really scammed. And they'll put this stuff on TV, never tell you what it is, and all of a sudden you walk over there and say, yeah, I'm a professional. No, you're not a professional. Once again, you're an imposter. But then you won't sit around here and won't recognize what we got in S.C.A.M. Why do you say that, Sam? I'm glad you asked. I'm switching gears again. Tighten your seatbelts. Now we're going to the mall. My favorite place, my recreation. I go to the mall yesterday. First-hand account, ladies and gentlemen. I go to the mall yesterday. It's so sad here in Texas. It's so sad. They started sending out text messages this weekend telling individuals when they were going to be getting their stimulus checks. I mean, literally, they were going online, and you can tell by the state when your state was getting the stimulus checks. And I found something out, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody knew about it. Every broke person. Think about the scam, ladies and gentlemen. Every broke person. No disrespect to stimulating the economy. But if you had residual income coming in, what would it matter? Think about that for a minute. If you got S.C.A.M in your lap, stimulating the economy, you're already doing it. You represent at this point the 5%, where everybody else represents the 95%. Now catch this part, Lloyd, in case you don't understand a scam. Watch this part. When I say 95%, watch the scam, watch the scam. The whole premise of the 95% that represent the masses, watch this, y'all. If you're writing it down, 95% stand for 9 to 5. 9 to 5. 9 to 5. You're still going to work. Now watch this. Let me show you how it's stimulating the economy to get you, ladies and gentlemen, and they know it. It's a scam from the top. Watch this part. If you represent the 95% that's waiting on the stimulus package, no disrespect to the stimulus package, but how many times do I have to be injected to make me feel like I'm being stimulated? Wait a minute. Are you telling me I'm finna get another check? Okay, I'm finna get another check. Now I gotta ask myself, what am I gonna do with the check? Well, the powers that be, without name dropping, already know what the masses are gonna do with the check. They know what the 9 to 5ers are getting ready to do with the check. The 95%, they already know it. They're gonna keep spending where they've already been spending. Now let me show you something what Mr. Thomas said yesterday on our call. That's why it's important to get on these calls, ladies and gentlemen, and start picking these people to get on these calls on Wednesdays with Mr. Thomas when he does it. Mr. Thomas said something yesterday that shook me in my shoes. Every now and then you'll get somebody to make a statement that'll keep you up at night and it will ruin your life in a good way. Let me show you how he'll ruin the average 9 to 5 person. Mr. Thomas, and I quote, last night, it was like 5 of us on the call, and I quote, write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Thomas said, and I don't even think he realized he said it, because sometimes he's talking, and when somebody that knows what they're doing is talking, they're just doing what they do. Like he's just a prophet. It's his gift. So he didn't even realize he said it. He said, when you are around broke people, you have broke habits. Let me say this again. He said, when you are around broke people, you have broke habits. In other words, when I get some money, it's only gonna make me worse than who I already am. So in other words, I've never been taught to invest in myself as a 95%er, 9 to 5. So what I'm gonna do is the usual of what I do. Now, watch this, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't wanna lose you. Mr. Jabri, are you there? You got me, Mr. Jabri?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay. Can you pull up that first slide for me, sir? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my miles I go in. If you look at that picture, I want you guys to take a screenshot if you can and use your phone and take a shot. If you can recognize that crowd, now that crowd is going to that store all the way up front, the red store up there in the front. It's a country mile of the first person to that last person back there with them white shorts on. And I know you guys probably didn't believe me when I said last time they're spending $250 per average on sneakers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a sneaker store. And they double booked. Think about that for a minute. The average person that went in that store yesterday that I saw, ladies and gentlemen, bought 2 to 3 pair of sneakers. I had to go through. If you see that gentleman that's coming towards you guys on the screen, if you look in his bag, he's got about 2 or 3 pair of sneakers in his hand coming out of the store. I was in so much of a crowd yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't get my steps in because I was bumping into boxes. People was hitting me on my knees. It seemed like I was in a war zone, and everybody was purchasing something. Now, these people that you see in this line, they represent the 95%ers, the 9 to 5ers. Some of them took off work because they got the stimulus checks yesterday. They made up a reason to get off work so they can stand in a line like they at the welfare office. Talk to me. That $1,400 average that we got in Texas, a lot of these individuals were spending it in that line. I talked to a guy and I asked him how much he paid for one pair of shoes he had. He leaned over to me in private because he didn't want nobody to hear him. He said he paid $240 for the newest Nike sneakers. 240. Now our opportunity only cost $224. He spent $240 on one pair of sneakers. You got to be kidding me, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm trying to figure out who's the scammer here. I'm trying to figure out where's the pyramid. Because last time I checked, I could see the pyramid right now. And I'm in these malls a lot. These people know me, but I'm confused. Now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Judging by the crowd, I don't see no tax attorneys in the line. I don't see any professional people in the line. The people that I saw in that line were younger people that felt like they wanted to improve their exterior instead of their interior. That's what doesn't make sense. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they had kids in the line and their parents. So think about it. Who's teaching them? You got to go back to blaming the parent on that one, because if you're standing in that line getting $200 and $300 worth of sneakers, wait a minute. I thought the stimulus check was supposed to be helping you out. It's not going to be helping you out putting sneakers on your feet, because you can't resell the sneakers. So you're in a depreciating situation. So I'm trying to figure out, if you're in a household, what we can do as S.C.A.M is to educate these individuals, because somebody's been miseducated. You're spending your money on things that do not make sense. Mr. Jabri, can you roll the other slide? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I didn't want you guys to think, oh, he's just looking at one genre of people. That's a bunch of African Americans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look closely, you see Caucasian individuals, you see Hispanics sitting over there. Now, this is the food court. And that's the front of the food court. All the way back to that carousel back there is people, I mean, sitting down full. I mean, the whole place was jam-packed. I mean, they were eating like it was caviar. Everybody was eating. They act like this is the second coming of Christ up in here, man. No joke. People were literally spending like it was going out of style. I could not believe my mind. They were spending on frivolous things. If you look around, you see bags on the floor, you see people spending their money. I mean, just ridiculous. You can take it down, Mr. Degree. I appreciate you. Now, I started thinking about this, ladies and gentlemen. I said, value over volume. Because people always say we scamming people and we're scamming people and S.C.A.M, this is a pyramid. I'm trying to figure out if now society is trying to go entrepreneur, but they're doing it in a scamish way. What they're doing is they're trying to present and sell something to the average person that really doesn't make any sense. They'll advertise one way and they'll do what we call in business the bait and switch technique. I get you in on one level, I show you can make this much, I dangle this carrot, but then at the end, you don't make anything, if at all. But you spend a lot of money out, but you never got anything back in. Okay, I'll do you one better than that. I leave the mall yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, and I go to peek at Walmart. I go in Walmart to show you how bad Walmart is. If you go to Walmart in your city, do this for me. Go to Walmart in your city. The stockers that stack the shelves, always look at their feet, male or female. You're going to see those same sneakers on their feet. You have people that stocking the shelves and people that's pulling on the registers wearing $200 sneakers on their feet. How you know that, Sam? Because I'm in these Walmarts and these malls all the time. First of all, you got to remember these individuals have to work somewhere, and because they're 9-to-5ers, they usually work at a warehouse type situation, AKA the biggest warehouse in the world, Walmart. And since we got limited places to go, They take them same shoes and they stock at Walmart and they ring you up on the register. You got people out there pushing buggies with $200 sneakers on their feet. Now, I'm saying that because where's the value system? The value system, somebody, and hopefully it's us, ladies and gentlemen, are sitting around educating these people when we're peaking them and saying, you know, you can invest in yourself. That's the thing I was saying yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I switched from volume to value. You know, you can invest in yourself. You know, you can invest in yourself. Most people, including business owners, ladies and gentlemen, don't even know what residual income is. And we're talking business owners. They have an idea. So when I finally break down what it really is, they don't know. People say, well, why you say that? Because they've often been taught to go to work for somebody. And when they do own their own business, the business owns them. They don't own their own business. This is one of the only places we can go, ladies and gentlemen, and learn true entrepreneurship from each other. From a Jocelyn Driscoll that already owned her own business. So when she comes on these calls, she can be effective because she can tell you things that she did, things that she didn't do, her and her husband, or Mr. Al Thomas, somebody that can walk you through the process because they've been there, done that, and they've really owned their own businesses. So they can tell you the right things to do and the right avenues to take when it comes to you and your downline. It's important. Because we get on an average call and somebody's talking about owning a business, it's gonna always own you because they can't articulate owning their own business. Because the truth be told, ladies and gentlemen, if you own your own business, and I'm a member of the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce in my local area, if you own your own traditional business, I can tell you where it really owns you because most of the time, the individuals that own their own business can't take a break. Why is that, Sam? Glad you asked. Most people that own their own business have to pay the employee first. They get the scraps. Why? Because they have to pay the electricity bill, the water bill, this and this and this and this and this. They have to pay everybody else before they pay themselves. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. That's a scam to me. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the scam that I'm talking about, seriously creating ambitious motivation, would say, I'm safe in A.C.M. It's recession proof. I don't have to worry about overhead once I pay my initial cost, and I get it back. I get it back on the front end when it comes to the bonus, and I get it back on the back end, traditionally called a write-off. I get it back, and I get to multiply my gains every single month as much as I want based on the compensation plan. Most businesses can't do that if they wanted to. Most traditional business right now are biting their nails and they're looking for us. Why is that? Ask Mr. Thomas. Out of the 6 people I had on the call last night, and this is not to my own horn, ladies and gentlemen, out of 6 people I had on that call last night, 2 or 3 of these guys thought they was gonna miss Mr. Thomas's call, and they started calling him and me at the same time, and he was on another call, begging us to pick up the phone. Literally begging us to pick up the phone. I had to text him back and say, he'll call you in a minute. He'll call you in a minute. They were thirsty. And we talking about professional people. Professional people. One guy was on the call. I met him Tuesday. He had 5 kids, a financial analyst with 5 kids. He just told me, I'm time broke. I related that to Mr. Thomas when he owned his own company. Time broke. I told him, man, you can do this around your schedule. Really? 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 Doctors don't get that opportunity. Lawyers don't get that opportunity. If you talk to most lawyers, they dress up mafia because they don't make their money until something goes wrong. And they sitting around twiddling their fingers. If you're not getting a divorce or you're not sitting around here collecting something for an accident, most lawyers sitting at home, dressed up like a Thanksgiving turkey and won't nobody eat it. Think about it. Think about it for a second. So what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is the true scam, the original scam, the way entrepreneurship is supposed to be. We have little to no overhead, and we have an opportunity to take the spoils home in the masses, especially when you first come into the opportunity. because we tell you get as much as you want off the table. And then when we doing the compensation plan, we say you can repeat the process as many times as you want throughout the month. I don't know where you go and get that. And last but not least, I talked to an individual last night, and I laughed about this one because Mr. Thomas said this yesterday, and person was on Instagram, and they Instagrammed me, I Instagram them back. They was a financial coach. I love them. Now I look on their website. All they got is a bunch of pictures on their website, right? And they just posted up with a bunch of people on the website. They don't say what they do, how they do it. After getting on the phone with this individual, because I let them talk first. I never talk first. When you know what you got in your bag, you never have to release it. Trust me, they'll tell on themselves, they'll trip themselves up. She got to talking, and I found out she was scamming. She didn't have nothing. She was talking loud and wasn't saying nothing. Then she ended up getting mad at me because I sent her the Tony Cooper's video with nothing but the facts on it. And she said, oh, you trying to be too specific. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me my video is so specific that you have to admit with arrogance that we trying to be too specific? Listen, I told that young lady to have a nice day because documentation just beat conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we have the greatest opportunity known to man. So if you really want to be part of a scam, I would let you tell everybody, yeah, we got a good scam going on, but exercise the acronym. We're seriously creating ambitious motivation. And just tell them it's a scam. And send the documentation to them. Because if you send it to them, tell us we liable for it, because anything we put out, we liable for it. Then I tell them like this, ladies and gentlemen, with a 28-year track record, and we giving you documentation, and we want you to read it, well, I'm speechless. They got a word, the young folks got a word these days when they say, well, they don't want to brag too much, they'll say less. I'm gonna say less. I'm gonna let the documentation speak for itself. Let's get these people in front of Mr. Thomas and all these leaders so they can do their job and we can be hands off. And the only way we do that, ladies and gentlemen, is to continue to be consistent in what we're trying to do. So every day you get out there, ladies and gentlemen, remind yourself, do something to advance your business. And because everybody's got all these stimulus checks going on, the average person getting $1,400. We can't get $224 to invest in yourself. $224. That's a drop in the bucket. I think we can, ladies and gentlemen, and we have leadership to prove so. Thank you.